Greetings, Sue. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me on Tuesdays with Mike. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. We've got a lot of directions that this likely will go, and some wonderful directions that this could go.
I know. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right. Well, first off, I think I'm really compelled by your journey as an occupational therapist who has gone on to get a PhD and who's integral in this space of aging and wellness with Asbury. Tell us as much as you would like to and take as much time as you need to give us the journey of Dr. Sue Paul.
Oh, that's so thoughtful.
Yeah.
Um, well, actually, you know how that life is funny that way. You don't end up where you think you're going to be. My plan had been to be a physical therapist, specialize in sports medicine, be a trainer for the Miami Dolphins. That was that was my plan. But I noticed, in college when I was just volunteering at clinics and things that I really didn't enjoy getting the athlete's ice, like taping ankles. I did really enjoy, the battered older people who had had hip fractures and so many issues going on and how tough they were. And they were way tougher than the athletes, the things they could endure. And so I just kind of leaned into the older adult from an early part of my career. I kind of fell into occupational therapy. That's a whole nother story. But I spent 10 years in nursing homes, like some of the poorest funded nursing homes in the 90s, which were not great then. And it's when I kind of cut my teeth on doing a lot for people, doing as much as you could for people on a shoestring budget when
Mhm.
anybody with a diagnosis of dementia wasn't covered. Medicare would decline any kind of claim that had a diagnosis of dementia because they assumed the patient couldn't get better. They couldn't follow
Right.
commands. They couldn't improve. So for 10 years, I was just kind of figuring it out, I guess. And then in 2020, 2001, Medicare overturned that. And all of a sudden, therapists could submit claims with a diagnosis of dementia
Yeah.
to Medicare. And so I was ready to go. I mean, I had had a lot of time with that, but therapists that I worked with didn't know what to do with people with dementia. They hadn't spent the time I'd had. So then I spent the next 15 years, and I worked in other settings too. It's not just the
Sure.
Alzheimer's and dementia space, but I spent the next 10 years really educating other therapists, family members, caregivers on what this trajectory looks like. What does the progression of Alzheimer's look like? It's not well documented, and nobody knew what to do about it, but I could see what might come next and what interventions could help slow that down. And that's where the occupational therapy hat came in handy because, as you know, OT is a very poorly defined or poorly understood profession. And there's just a lot of leeway. It's just like the goal is function, and however you get there, we're not going to really question, just whatever you got to do to get there. So there's a lot of freedom in that to figure out complex problems, which I happen to enjoy. But 15 years in, I'm pretty good at this whole dementia thing, but the research isn't keeping up as far as pharmaceutical miracles coming down the pike, right? So I'm like, all right, so there is no silver bullet, but prevention seems to be effective, or
Yeah.
all the lifestyle factors that go into a healthy brain seem to make a difference, even in the presence of cognitive decline. You just talk to somebody, they perk up, take them
Yeah.
for a walk, cobwebs clear, feed
Yeah.
them, like all these silly
Give them
basic
a little
things.
bit of purpose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's when I was like, lifestyle seems to work here. So I became a health coach and sort of do my little, side hustle or passion project, as you would say, kind of coaching people in those early stages with as many lifestyle factors as I could. And then that's when I kind of joined Asbury and they said, hey, we'd like a brain health program. And I said, let's do this because it's
Yeah.
going to be great. So that's my journey
Wow.
and how I got here. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, that's about as roller coaster as it comes, right?
Oh, sure.
Uh, I'm headed to sports,
Yeah.
PT. I don't like this. I'm headed someplace that's not well funded and poorly understood. Then I'm headed into something that I'm understanding and I have a passion for, oh, but by the way, it's all going to be solved with medications because we're going to be able to learn how to clear beta amyloid. So forget it. And oh, by the way, it turns out that prevention is more powerful than the
Yep.
medications. And that even if someone has no beta amyloid, it's they can still easily develop Alzheimer's disease. And beyond that, there's multiple different subtypes of dementia
Mhm.
that are nearly innumerable as well. That's a dramatic roller coaster ride. So I'm just going to say this with all due empathy. Thank you for staying on the roller coaster.
Oh,
Because if
sure.
you don't stay on that roller coaster, we don't have the type of longevity that comes from people with experience like you, and that are willing to, take the collection of connections you have, knowledge you have, experience that you have. All three of those are separate, and create something like Seniorscape. So let's talk now, if we may, just a little bit about this project, another passion project that may, in fact, have incurred its own roller coaster. Tell us about the 12-year journey to get from a concept of Seniorscapes and define for our audience what it is. And we know that it's in Maryland right now, but just give us your descriptive picture of it. And certainly in show notes, I can include some links as well.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so this is my favorite thing.
Okay.
So 12 years ago, I was doing home health, and all my patients are older. They all have a lot of medical conditions, but so many of them are just the pitfalls of aging that are preventable to some extent. The chronic diseases, the falls, the balance impairment, just the lack of stimulation, getting more sedentary, like all these fixable things, right?
Mhm.
And then the failures of traditional therapies, not that the therapist necessarily failing, but the system fails them because once they're
Right.
discharged from a skilled service, from therapy in the home or anywhere, they get that written exercise packet. It's thrown in the nightstand drawer along with the
Right.
TheraBand and never to be seen again.
Yeah.
And TheraBand exercises are not that stimulating or exciting, so I can't blame them. But
Hmm.
I just realized in the origin story of actually the day the concept comes to mind is I'm with a patient who has Alzheimer's disease. He's in the early stages. He lives with his daughter and his wife, right? The daughter has two kids. So I go to see the dad who's in the early stages of Alzheimer's disease, and his job during the day is to keep an eye on his wife who's in the middle stages of Alzheimer's disease. So
Oh,
she's
wow.
wandering and hoarding and just kind of anxious all the time and pacing around a lot. And he would forget that it was his job to watch her. So the daughter would go to work and take her two sons to school. And when she would come home, she had no idea what she'd find. One or
Mhm.
both parents could be missing. The car could be missing. The lawnmower was in pieces. He's on the roof. The mother has opened every can of soup in the kitchen. Like it just, she just was beside herself. So I sat with her one day as she just, her father would get agitated at night and sundown and start yelling and swearing and all, complete personality changes. And she was just a mess. And I said, is there nowhere you can go? And she's like, no, I have to lock us in here every day. When I get home, the boys can't go to sports or go to friends' houses. We can't go out anywhere. We can't go to a restaurant or to a mall or to the movies, or we can't go anywhere. We're stuck here. And I said, gosh, if I had a bag of money, I would build you a place where your whole family could go, like
Yeah.
just be healthy and fun for you. So driving home from that visit, I passed a park and there were children playing on age appropriate equipment and the caregivers, parents sitting around watching, socializing with each other. And I was like, huh, why is it that the largest tax paying demographic doesn't have something like this for them? And it wasn't just about dementia or Alzheimer's and
Right.
that family's needs. It was like, it's all the things. Like, why is there not
Yeah.
like age appropriate or ability appropriate equipment for the older adult? So I
Yeah.
went to the mayor's office in the city of Frederick. I know nothing about how to do this. And I said, let's build a park for seniors. And he said, okay. And I said, great. And I thought it would take about 2 weeks. We'll get this done. I'll bring a shovel and a friend and we'll build a park. and I
Wow.
had no idea what I was in for. So talk about, learning from the ground up what to do,
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
how to build this thing. It took a while, but gosh, so sorry for the long intro to this, but
Oh, I'm permitting you all the time you need. I'm fascinated by this.
in 20 that was 2012, and about 2017 I finally formed a nonprofit, or 2016, called Seniorscapes, because I realized I need an entity to represent this. Me and my wacky ideas isn't really selling this. So I formed a nonprofit. I got a little wind behind the sails, up until the time that COVID hit, and then everything fell off. But what happened during COVID, Mike? Something ironic. There was no safe place
Outside.
for older adults to go outside and still be safe and be with other people and socialize. There was no place for them. And I said, oh, anyway, so that just refueled me. And then Asbury, my employer, has a foundation. And I said, hey guys, do you guys want to help me build a park? And their corporate office is actually in Frederick. And they said, yeah, we'd love to support the city of Frederick. So they kicked in a nice big check. And that way I had a little more leverage and a little more, just boots on the ground to help me get that going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so finally we got the funding in 2023-ish, and we just opened it in July, and it's amazing. So
Wow.
that's the journey.
I love that. Thank you for telling us the whole journey because now here again you have a roller coaster
Oh, yeah.
and not that dissimilar from the Alzheimer's discussion that we just had. You think this is going to go nowhere, and then partially because of the pandemic, it becomes everything. And then get the infrastructure, not just monetary, but also boots on the ground. Who can go down to the city? Who can, project manage this? Who can coordinate this delivery beyond just yourself?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been
That's great.
amazing. And I gotta say it has exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
And I had high expectations because I wanted to do everything in the space and
Yeah.
make it the prototype for the future. And but it has like just warmed my heart. It's been so great.
Sue, I'm going to ask you a question that I had not previously formulated. If you were to go to the park right now and pick one activity and you could only spend 5 minutes at the park, what would you want to go play on?
Oh no. Um gosh, Mike, I like all of it. Well,
Yeah.
I would do like a mobility circuit.
Okay, nice. That
Yeah.
works. That works. You get some all-inclusiveness there. Tell
Yeah.
us about the mobility circuit. What would you do?
So the mobility circuit, and you'll appreciate this as a physical therapist, is challenging all of the, not challenging, but encouraging the skills you need to just continue to live independently and navigate your environment. So there are parallel bars,
Hmm?
basic for a lot of people who need them. There's a really pretty fake stream that runs through the park. It's just a blue painted stream, but
Mhm.
there's three ways to cross the stream. Well, there's a bridge, a little bridge. There's
Yeah.
stepping stones.
Okay.
There's a log bridge, so you have
Mhm.
to do the tandem stepping across the
Right.
log, but you have bars to hold on to the whole way
Yeah.
across. And what I don't have yet, what I'm working on funding for, is the stairs and ramp. So you can practice going upstairs and down a ramp over the
Yeah.
stream too.
Yeah.
And then, so that's part of the circuit. And then on the outside of that circuit is something called the surface challenge, where it's a 20-foot span of parallel bars, but there's panels on the ground that you step on, and each panel has a different surface. So it could be kind of rocks, it could be stepping over
Yeah.
logs, it could be like a boardwalk sort of texture. There's grass,
Mhm.
so different textures you practice walking
Yeah.
across. So
Yeah.
I would do that fun circuit
Yeah,
for 5.
that's great. And for our viewers and listeners that have not had a chance to see the photos yet, I've taken as much of a tour as I could through it. I saw that the stairs and the ramp are pending funding. I think there's like $15,000 that needs to be allocated to that. But you also have a couple of different distances of walking tracks. You have
Mm-hmm.
a putting green. You have some actual, let's say, resistance machines that are built to stay outdoors, leg press, and otherwise. There's a lot of different variety of things that somebody could spend, depending on how many sets or reps or activities they do on something, they could spend 90 minutes
Hmm.
trying to touch everything with very small amount of time to each thing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
legit. I mean, it's for healthy
yeah,
aging, right? It's not just for
yeah,
seniors.
yeah,
So, like I've worked out there. There's
yeah.
four different resistance machines, like legit pin and plate kind of resistance machines. So you can do leg
Right.
press, shoulder press, chest press, and rowing.
Yeah.
Then there's an arm bike and an upright bike for some cardio.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I put on my weighted vest and I do some laps and I do like my own little bone healthy
Yeah.
workout there.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay, so when we think about something that is fashioned like this with senior-scapes, you and I have talked about the physical attributes, the structures, the equipment, the variety of surfaces that are available. But we know that it goes beyond what an individual can do for physical activity. So I'm thinking, I would love to hear from you the different health benefits of physical activity that you describe when you are talking to a community about the physical activity, how it can help your brain. But I also want to hear from you about the other, perhaps more incidental benefits of having a place to go and beyond just being physically active, what other benefits are the Senior Park providing people? Talk to us about all of that.
Okay, well, let's start with removing the barriers
Yeah.
to access, right? It's so,
Mm.
I talked to a ton of people over the years, about their local park. Oh, I love to go to the park. I'm like, oh, you do? What do you do at the park? Oh, well, I go walking with my daughter. Oh, you do? Like, is there a walking path? She goes, yeah. Well, I get out of the car and I walk to the bench, and then I watch my daughter walk around the path. And I said, well, why don't you walk around the path? Oh, because the path goes all the way around the soccer field, and I can't walk that far,
Yeah.
and there's no place to sit. So I just watch her from the bench, and I was like, okay, we can do better than that. So access to the features is one thing. So the parking lot is right next to, you get out of your car and you're at the space, right?
Yeah.
There's a bathroom on site.
Hmm.
There's infrastructure for the water fountain, but
Yeah.
the water fountain's not in yet.
Right.
But having that is important. There's shade. It's a flat surface. So there's no hills to climb, there's no
Yeah.
grade to it, it's flat. So those features are like the senior centricness of it that make it just doable. This is a safe place for you. There's a fence around it. So it's about a third of an acre, and there's a split rail fence around it. And it's not only for the people with memory impairment or, you might be concerned might wander off. They're kind of contained. So there's only one in and one out. Um, but it also keeps the skateboarders and the bikes from flying through the space, which was a concern to a lot of people I talked to. Like they love the kids, but they don't want to necessarily share the space with the kids. So intergenerational has a different meaning here too, because the
Right.
bigger park space is intergenerational, but
Yeah.
this is meant for them. This is their
Yeah.
space. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that makes it accessible for the older adult to come into the space.
Yeah.
Um, and describing the physical benefits, I mean, a lot of people know. I mean, you got to do the cardio, so do some walking or do the
Yeah.
bike or the arm bike,
Right.
get your heart rate up and down the stairs, obviously, when that day comes. But and there's different kinds of physical activity. You're talking cardio, the resistance training, the strength training, there's balance training and mobility. All of
Yeah.
that together in one space makes that, you kind of touching on all those things, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the benefits being bone health and um, muscle strength and,
Hmm.
releasing all those wonderful neurotransmitters and things that help your
Right.
brain grow and perfusing your brain with blood flow. And yeah,
Yeah.
so those are kind of more the obvious, I think, uh, benefits to most
Right.
people. Yeah.
Tell us about some of the stories that you've either witnessed or heard about that perhaps work on two other pathways of health, and those being the cognitive stimulation and then the social connections.
Hmm.
of seeing people like me do something like this. So take your time in helping us understand the ancillary benefits accordingly.
Well, there's ancillary, but there's also intentional. So there's
Yeah,
some brain, there's
I
some,
would think so. Yeah.
yeah. So there's some brain games built into the space.
Okay.
One of
Oh, that's
them,
right. I did see that. You guys actually had like a trail making on the sidewalk, didn't
yeah,
you?
I did.
So the 1A, 2B, 3C on the sidewalk. That's right.
Yep. Yep. So yes, there's a trail making bee on the, and I don't know how many of your listeners know what that is, but it's an attention kind of game where you have to alternate letters and numbers. Usually you do it with pen and paper, but we're doing it moving through space. So you have to
Mhm.
step on these circles and alternate that. There's also a scavenger hunt.
Okay, I
So
wasn't aware of that.
you
Tell
didn't
me
see the
about
scavenger
this.
hunt. So
No.
there's 5 bird statues that are placed in different places around the park, mostly up high in trees. But there's 5 different kinds of birds. There's like a red cardinal and a yellow, a goldfinch, a bluebird, a woodpecker, and an owl. And so you have to walk around and look for, scan the environment, visually scan and everything, which is all great brain health, and look up because so many older adults are so busy looking down at their feet or, just talking to in their little space. They're not looking up and extending their head and neck and scanning the bigger world. So finding these 5 birds is just a way to get them moving in different patterns and looking
Yeah.
around and noticing their environment and remembering what they're supposed to look for. And can I remember all 5 birds? If not, I got to walk all the way back over to that sign and get a little more workout, walk over there, look at it, and then go find the birds.
Yeah.
But there's more brain games coming. That's the
Oh,
fun
that's
thing.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, that tell us about that social interactive, whether it be social connectivity, meeting someone I know there or meeting someone I don't know, or that, that power again of, I'm not going to say mirror neuroning, but
Hmm.
the concept that when I see someone that looks like me with the identity that I have about myself doing something, tell me about any stories that you've got on that. And I know
Yeah.
that there's a degree of that that has some intentionality as well.
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. So it's a funny story. So before the park was even open, like there was caution tape around
Mm.
the entrance, but I was in there waiting for something to happen. And this older gentleman comes in with his cane and he comes, walking along. And I said, hi there. This space isn't really open yet. So I need you to come back next week when it's open. And he said, oh, don't worry. I come here all the time. And I was like, well, okay. Like, you still really shouldn't be in here yet. It's not done yet. And he goes, oh, I don't mind. I'm like, no, there's still bricks and there's dirt and it's a mess. And he's like, no, really, it's fine. He goes, I just keep coming over here hoping to meet somebody. And I was like, well, come back next week and it's going to be great. And he said there's parks near his house, much closer, but they're up a little hill, or this other park is too far from the parking lot. And he's like, but this park is perfect because I can sit in the gazebo and I can talk to somebody and I can bring my lunch and hang out. And he goes, I just
Yeah.
can't wait to meet somebody I can go to dinner with. And I was
Oh
like,
my
this is great. So I mean, it wasn't even open yet, and this man's already
Yeah.
coming to meet people. You know,
Wow.
and in the early days, in the first few weeks after it opened, I have a broom that I keep at the park, and I just go, and I'm being nosy. I'm brushing the sidewalk, but I'm listening to conversations and I'm meeting people and I'm introducing people to each other. I'm like, Lynn, did you meet Anne? And they
Yeah.
they become friends. And it's not my, I think they would have become friends anyway, but I was trying in those early days to really, push that socialization. Like, no, guys, this is why we're all here together for the same purpose. This is your park. Make the most of it. Let's encourage each other. And so that kind of just happened organically and with a little push from
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That's so
Yeah.
good. So now, not that you haven't, I mean, you could call this pinnacle, you could stop here. You've had very arduous pathways to achieve these programs for dementia and also the Senior Park. You could say, okay, now somebody else take over. But Sue, you're not done yet. Tell me what future visions and passions that you have surrounding on that real difficult to challenge topic that I think is having some evolutions now, about how we as a society can transfer and reimagine what we expect about aging. What
Yeah.
what passions do you have around this, and what future visions do you have accordingly?
Well, my passions are all the things.
Hmm.
Um, because I consider myself now an urban planner and an architect and,
I guess, yeah,
a
yeah,
social change maker, all that. I'll wear
yeah.
any hat you want to give me because I believe that, you can't just program something, you have to build the environment,
Wow.
there's so much data about, just having green spaces in neighborhoods, having parks in neighborhoods associated with higher outcomes or better health outcomes. But what's funny is that, like, a municipality or, they won't blink at building an $11 million children's playground, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Nobody would, oh, the kids need a park. And then
Right,
we'll go build the $50,000 dog park over here because,
right,
people need to push their dogs in the strollers over to the dog park. I mean,
right,
I'm just kidding. Dog parks are great and I love dogs
right, right. You're
and
not
children.
denigrating either one of
No,
those,
no.
but
But we
also,
don't but we don't bring kids to the park to sit on a bench and watch.
right,
They're not designed for rest. So traditionally, benches have been allocated. Oh, we'll put a nice bench with a view for the spectator, meaning the older adult, to sit
yeah,
and relax and to contemplate on their long, rich life. It's like the life is not over yet. The life is it's here in this park and it's for them too,
yeah,
if they can have their own space, just like the pickleball players and just like the basketball players
right,
and the frisbee players, and everybody's got their thing, So I want to make this ubiquitous. Like, of course, when we're considering public spaces, we're not going to design for the sedentary, frail, older adult. We're going to design for the aging human, you
right.
know, who's going to have a knee surgery at some point,
Hmm.
going to
Hmm.
need a little support at some time, can work on their chronic diseases, you know, because they have a safe place to go do that.
Hmm.
It just, so I don't know how to get this done exactly, Mike, to be honest,
Yeah,
other than just waving the flag and saying, standing on my soapbox. But I think there's some policy change involved, and I think there's some funding sources that could be tapped. I'm not looking forward to being the fundraiser again because that was
yeah,
arduous and it's not my
yeah,
skill set.
yeah.
But I'll
Is it
I'll align forces with anybody.
That's exactly my point. Next point, is it too soon for to have expected that some other municipality or entity could reach out and say, we'd like to do that here. Can we consult with you for how we can create that? And what did you learn from your project? It
Yeah,
sounds like you might be open to, I mean, obviously with a consulting fee accordingly, to do something like that.
for 100%. Yeah. I actually wrote the book. That was part of my doctoral work, was writing the book on how to build a senior park that's evidence based. Like, every decision in there is not just my wacky idea. It comes from,
Yeah.
it's based in science, it's research based. And, so yeah, I have the book, I have the experience, and I'd love to do this everywhere.
Mhm.
That's my
Yeah.
passion. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm blown away by that. And thank you for doing that. Obviously there are people that are traveling, as you mentioned, past their local regional parks to come to yours. I would imagine that there would be, even in the very near future, people that would organize trips to come from other regions, literally, or out of
Mhm.
state, to go do a vacation to experience this collectively together. And if they're not, I'll just suggest that they should be. That's amazing. And then, obviously for other retirement villages to be able to participate in such collaboratively would be amazing. And we truly can reimagine what we expect as a society of aging through some of the, cognitive, physical, and social attributes that you have built into that park. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. And I love the fact that you still have some evolutions that you're adding then too.
Yeah. All the bells and whistles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because it's not the first senior park, I wouldn't say. Like, there are other models out there, but I don't think they address all the things. Like
Yeah,
they might cluster together some fitness equipment and call it, and it's fine. I mean, that's something that's great.
sure.
But it's not the one-stop shop that
Yeah,
I think should be in every neighborhood. Like here, all the
yeah,
things you need are here. You know, it's not just at your
yeah.
physical therapist clinic. It's not just at your gym because they all hate the gym. You know,
Hmm.
it's right here in your neighborhood.
Well, and that's the thing, Sue. And I'm sorry, I don't want to spend your time telling you things you already know, but I'm amazed by the fact that you started with accessibility. We knew that, and that's where the other parks can start and sometimes stop. It's level, it's accessible, and there's safe equipment. But you built in accessibility and adaptability, variability, cognitive stimulation. And then the fact that you guys have walking tracks that are of three different lengths that somebody could graduate themselves up to has a gamification approach to it
Mhm.
as well. I'm using a different plate, that I'm putting a pin in this week. I found all five birds in less time than, etc. There's so many opportunities for people to revisit the park with novel energies each time. It's amazing.
Yeah,
It is beyond just an accessible park then too.
right.
Um, Sue, I'd like to move to a couple of bonus options that I had hoped to get to with you because it would be unfair to you and to your career to define you just through your efforts, with dementia and just through the senior scapes. So we talked a little bit about a few, bonus topics. I'm interested to give you time and space to tell us a little bit about the Connections program that you have at Asbury Park. That's uniquely spelled then as well, and has a design that is becoming more popular, but you obviously have some unique attributes with that. Talk to us about the Connections program.
Sure. So, Connections was the brain health program that was born when I joined Asbury.
Mm.
And Asbury is a senior living community organization, has 10 communities in the East, Mid Atlantic area.
Mhm.
And so Connections is spelled Kin because it's a play on kinetic energy, kinesthesia,
Mhm.
kinesiology, so meaning movement.
Yeah.
So it's a lifestyle based approach to brain health. And it's all those anecdotal things we talked about that I was finding in dementia. Like, and then the research comes along and says, hey, you can reduce your risk of dementia by over 40, 50% just by doing these things. And that's low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
That's not skilled service. That's not a clinical thing. That's just implementable at your fitness team's level.
Right. Yeah. It's no
Um,
copay, it's no
right.
side effects, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. So we built the Connections program as okay. So the Connections program, like I said, it's a lifestyle based, movement based program. We do have to start with a baseline, right? So we take people, and it's designed for people with normal cognition to mild cognitive impairment.
Okay.
Every now and then, somebody's a little further along into some symptoms of dementia. But it's designed really for those people who think they're fine or a little worried about something or a family
Mhm.
history or somebody else is noticing something's off. It's for those people. Like
Yeah.
let's stop this where it's at. So our brain health coaches, which are kind of a new little career that we created, kind of that have a background in either maybe education or fitness or social work or psychology, or they're well versed in something
Yeah.
usually, and they're a little seasoned, so they have relatability to the older adult. But that's not true. We have a 25-year-old guy who's fantastic, but anyway, so it's just it has to be a very special person who takes this job
Yeah.
and works in this role. We put them through the brain health trainer certification course by our friend Ryan Glatt. And they learn some things about behavioral motivation and, health coaching, things
Yeah.
like that. So they work with the residents. They do an assessment on the resident, and you have to be careful because you and I, as clinicians, got to be careful with that word assessment, right? Because it's a subclinical role that they're
Sure.
in. So
Yeah.
they're allowed to do the MOCA, the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, as long as they do the certification course.
Mhm.
So check. That's a global cognitive score that they're able to administer. Then they help the resident do a self-assessment that's on a computer-based self-assessment tool. So they're not administering it, but they're helping the resident with the technical things and, talking them through how to get through it. And that is what kind of flushes out more domain specific issues. So is it actually their memory? Is it their attention? Is it their executive function? Is it processing speed? Like what's going on there that, because people just panic that, oh, my memory. I'm like, well, maybe it's not your memory. Maybe it's your attention. And there's things we can do specifically that might elevate your attention skills,
Right.
It really helps them see, oh, that's what's going on. And this is what a plan, I can address these things, right?
Yeah.
They also do lifestyle surveys like sleep, maybe a sleep survey, how are you sleeping, depression and anxiety screenings, and then a subjective survey, how do you think you're doing? Because sometimes that's so off base for the better or for the worse. It doesn't match reality.
Yeah,
So
that's true for all of us. Yeah.
So if there's an issue, they'll make a proper referral that you need physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. You need to see a psychologist. Let me refer you to pastoral care for a little more emotional support. Let's, get you better nutrition. Let's, they figure out, hearing, vision. Let's get that stuff corrected, because there's so many things that could impact a person's cognition. There's nothing to do with a neurodegenerative disease. It just could be life, right? So we kind of level set all that, and then we get to work with their personalized plan based on their strengths and deficits and goals, and they're off to the races. So, so this is where your skill set comes in on the programming side of it. What are the things we offer that address some of those things, or all of those things? And that's where we bring in novel activities and new learning and resistance training and dual tasking, which has been humongous. Everybody loves dual task training. It's a blast, and it's so challenging, and they get it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's so brilliant that, as you're talking about this, you're embodying precision wellness, right?
Sure, I like that. Yeah.
We talk about precision medicine, and we've evolved into precision rehabilitation. And for me, you're hitting on precision wellness now. You're taking someone that either is just being completely preventative or has subjective cognitive impairment, which is a classification, as you and I both know, before mild cognitive impairment. I feel like I might have some, and they would fill in the blank there. But you're actually saying, okay, there are many factors in your life that we could use about this. And then you're taking that whole area of cognition and you're exploding that out so that we're precise. If you have problems with attention, we're going to address your attention rather than everybody gets the same, gift today at the Oprah Winfrey Show. You get the gift and you actually get the intervention that you need. It's so precise because, I've watched videos that you're describing this, and you talk about the 7 cognitive domains. And if you'd like to explore those a little bit more with our listeners before we wrap up, that's great. But to me, that's the crux of precision. If I've got somebody that comes to the clinic and they're falling and I give them a balance program, I might have missed footwear, lighting, fear, strength, reaction speed, vestibulopathy, et cetera, et cetera. It's precision. Just riff on that a little bit if you want. And if you want to hit on the cognitive domains, that might illuminate the concept for some of our listeners as well.
Great. Yeah, the 7 cognitive domains came about actually during COVID because we knew we wanted to launch this brain health program, and we were doing a lot of renovations to build a rock climbing wall and a boxing studio and a tech lab, and big changes for these residents who were already going through a lot. So it was a lot for them, but I wanted to educate them that when you go to the doctor and you complain about your cognition, you can receive a diagnosis of dementia based on a list of 7 different cognitive domains. Well, 6, I think. I added the 7th because I think it's important. But and so it's not just about your memory. You can get dementia, the diagnosis of it can mean all of these things. And so it was just something interesting to bring to the residents that we could do on a Zoom call, educate them about each domain, get them thinking about what they're good at, what they avoid, because typically if you're not good at something, you avoid it. Um,
Mm,
you know, things like just get them thinking about these other things. And it just took the pressure off of memory being the evil
yeah.
sort, the evil thing that's stealing their lives or whatever. It's like it's not about your memory. It could be all these things.
Yeah.
So we educated them about, we call it the Super Seven, educated
Yeah.
them about the seven domains, had all these guest speakers talk to them about them and how to improve those things. And it's not an apples to apples
Sure.
relationship.
Hmm.
You might say choreography, learning new dance steps or learning a boxing sequence is good for your memory because you have to remember the sequence of movements. It gets it added on, so the chain gets a little longer. But you can't say necessarily that that's the thing that improved your, it's not an apples to apples thing
Right.
because
Right.
other things, it lifts all boats, right? Like you get better at a
Hmm.
lot of stuff by doing that.
Hmm.
But they understand that so easily, like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Processing speed can be a matter of just doing things faster. Physically doing things faster makes you think faster. So
That's right.
it's the whack-a-mole philosophy, like, and you start moving faster and suddenly you're thinking faster, and
Yeah.
that's not rocket science. It's
Yeah.
just it can be practical, it can be fun. And that's the sort of education that started and the programming that was just removed all the stigma from brain problems. Like we all have them and we
Yeah.
avoid the things we don't
Yeah.
find pleasant. I don't want to do math. you know, I don't want to read out loud. I don't want
Yeah.
to socialize. I don't want,
Yeah.
there's things that people avoid because they don't want to do it. It's like, just
Yeah.
do it. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
We're all in the same
Yeah.
boat. So
Oh my gosh. Sue, this has been a wonderful conversation. You are giving people with mild impairment and severe impairment the opportunity to be able to do something practical, reachable, frictionless across so many different touch points of what you're doing throughout your day, the senior the connections programming, all of these things, the fact that we're even just willing to talk about it and program it or build a specific program for you will enhance someone's belief that this is a person specific program, which also automatically increases the efficacy of any program I have belief in. You and I both know all of that, but you're embodying that. And I don't think this is embodied regularly enough throughout aging communities, rehabilitation, wellness of any form. So I want to thank you for being a model, for persisting through when you could have opted out at any one of these, points in your career. Do you have any other summary words for someone that is, let's say, the 27-year-old Sue Paul occupational therapist that is energized by what you're doing? What should they, uh, how should they envision their career and look for ways to contribute? What advice would you give to a burgeoning professional such as yourself?
that's such a big question, Mike.
Yeah.
I think if you just look at the needs of the human existence, it
Hmm.
really simplifies it, right? Like
Yeah.
humans just need certain things. They need
Yeah.
food and water and shelter and a tribe and the physical skills to hunt and gather and defend themselves. It's
Yeah.
not that hard if you can
Hmm.
envision the life of the perfect human.
Hmm.
And what's the bit like our industrialized world has made more complications, added chronic disease, where infectious disease, and predators have gone away from our
Yeah.
what kills us. It's now chronic disease. So I think to that younger person, I would really learn, first of all, like human development. What's the normal course of human development? What are the things that block good development, especially in kids? What are the things we need to continue our journey aging forward? Because it's not like I turned 65, I'm now aging. Like you're aging along the continuum. So if you want to plug yourself into this lifetime I mean, really at any entry point, you can get on the
Yeah.
wellness bandwagon, the longevity bandwagon. There's so much need for people to learn how to live human
Yeah.
because it's been robbed from them. Even going outside seems like such an
Wow.
effort. Taking your
Yeah.
shoes off seems ridiculous. Like nobody would do that, you know?
Right.
Like it's like just
Yeah.
go learn how to be a human and teach people, young occupational therapists or whoever, how to live like a good human.
Yeah.
That's what I just would do.
And a lot of young individuals, and almost regardless of age, can feel so much overwhelmed from all the different options and choices and what direction should I take my career, that you just boil this down so nicely into something that impassions you, that helps humans live their lives with a higher degree
Mhm.
of quality so they can feel nourished, protected, socially connected, etc.
Yeah.
Sue, I want to
Yeah.
thank you because go ahead. Did you want to add a
I was just
comment
going to
on
add
that?
one more thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do.
I think that like a lot of therapists have to, if I'm speaking to therapists, are stuck by what the payer requires, you know?
Hmm.
And so you're required to do XYZ. It's who's paying the bill for your services that predicts your career path, right? So early on, you can pick that touch point you want to get into, and don't worry about the payer. And I would also add, if you go after the big problems, because we need a lot of people solving the hard problems, not the problems that are perpetuated by just the machine rolling along, the things that the
Right.
status quo, but go after the hard problems because that's what keeps life interesting. and
Yeah.
and like you describe my career as if I've been like working so hard and I'm so busy, but it's just what I want to do, it's
Yeah.
so it doesn't feel like work, it's just tackling the hard problems is fun.
Yeah.
Now I'm done.
I could carry on for another 35 minutes because I have these concepts that you've kind of reinvigorated in here a little bit. We talk about exercise as medicine, food as medicine, but Sue, you've actually even expressed right here that your work is your medicine too.
Mhm. That's right.
So I want to make sure we tackle on that. And then maybe the last thing that's just it's been resonating and reverberating in my mind during this conversation, that we obviously talk about the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Undoubtedly, you guys have thought about that in the park. If we build it, they will come. And this, if you will, field of generations that you have built, and now they're coming to it. And obviously, you even have more things coming to it. So it's amazing that you've embodied all of this. Sue, thank you so much for your time today, for your contributions to model something that had previously not been done to this extent, hopefully can be replicated very well, and for your career contributions. So, Dr. Sue Paul, thank you so much for your time on Tuesdays with Mike.
Well, thank you so much, Mike.